Hi, and welcome to the Luxembourg PVC Stories. Today it is my pleasure to host Marc Boulesteix, who is taking care of the Eurazeo Luxembourg Office. Hi Marc.
Hi Stefan, thank you for inviting me.
Great to have you here. So, what can you tell us about Eurazeo? Who, when, and how did that adventure start?
Well, Eurazeo is an old lady, I would say. It has been created from the merger of two companies, Eurafrance and Azeo, which was both holdings from the Lazare galaxy, since our main shareholder is Michel David Veil, who is the former managing partner of Lazare. So we used to invest in indirect stake in industrial companies. Then back in the early year 2000, we moved to private equity, investing in quite large companies such as Elis, Rexel, Eutelsat, and Moncler, which is one of the famous ones. In 2015, we made another move to management of third-party money, because we used to manage our own money only. And now we are managing 31 billion euro of alternative assets, and we have 75% roughly of private equity, 20% of private debt, and 5% of real assets. So that's what we do now.
Great, and it's a very impressive track record. So you just highlighted a few of your verticals and also a few of your investments. Anything you would like to add on those, and how do you source your deals?
Well, we have a dedicated team of originating and built our pipeline. It's really key in our business, to have a massive and the most important pipeline possible, because in the current market with high multiples, you have to be very selective in your investment. So it's very key for us to build the strongest pipeline possible. So we have team in our various locations in the US, in Europe, in the UK, and Paris to do so.
You mentioned Moncler before. Any other example you would like to highlight?
Well, we have so many investments. As of today, we are invested in 450 companies, so through equity and debt. We don't have any specific sector, but we have, I would say, heavily invested in healthcare, in consumer products, in payments. But we have different verticals, from venture, growth, small, mid, and mid-large buyout. We have many. So I don't know, in terms of investment, the latest I have in mind, because we just released the news yesterday, is Doctolib. So Doctolib is, in terms of value, the highest of the French tech investment. So it's a value now almost 6 billion euros. So we just released that we have participated to the last round of 500 million euros. So it's a key step for Doctolib. So Doctolib, I don't know if you know the company. It's an online booking platform for healthcare professional, doctors, telehealth, and PMS for doctors. So it's a French company, and with those 500 million euros, we hope they will fasten their pace, and they plan to recruit, I think it's 3,000 people in France, in Germany, and Italy. So it's a huge success, very key players during the COVID crisis in France. So we are very excited to be a part of this journey with them.
This is a very interesting business model, because here in Luxembourg we also had our winner, Doctena, and that really looks like a very promising business over the next months and years. What can you tell us about the Eurazeo setup globally? How many offices do you have and employees working for the group?
So in terms of employees, right now we have 360 people globally. So we have a global footprint. So we are based in Paris, the headquarters, I mean, but we have offices in London, in New York, as well in Asia, so in Singapore, in Shanghai, in Brazil, Italy, Germany, many locations, but in terms of investment team, it's mainly in Paris, London and New York.
And since you're heading the Luxembourg office, what's the operating model here locally and the composition of your team?
So first we have a manager, AIFM here in Luxembourg. We have a few within the group, but one of them is in Luxembourg since 2018. So we have an in-house model, so meaning that we are taking care of all the, I would say, corporate aspects of the third-party funds that we have. So we are managing almost 15 funds currently, so mid-large buyout and real estate. So we are a team of 7 people. So we have 3 financial controllers, 2 for real estate and 1 for mid-large buyout. And we have legal compliance, accounting manager, and myself and a team assistant. And we are growing. Because much more funds, ongoing fundraising, so a lot of things going on. So we plan to recruit people shortly.
So again, a quite positive trend here too. What happened over the 2 last years at Eurazeo? Any specific acceleration, transformation within the business model or the trends you're following?
Well, no change per se in terms of business model. As I say, since 6 years, we have been accelerating in the third-party management. So, I mean, the pace is really high with a lot of fundraising, a lot of new strategies as well. We created infrastructure, sustainable infrastructure strategy. Healthcare has been as well very booming. So a lot of things going on, new funds, as I said, new strategies, but mainly I think the most important point to mention here is the fundraising pace, which is very important. So yeah, that's what's going on currently at Eurazeo.
And you also have a well-recognized ESG policy and strategy. How important is it for your group? How do you use it?
Well, it's very important. It has been embedded in our, let's say, DNA for decades. We have been one of the first managers to implement ESG. We are very proud of being listed in basically every indexes possible with the highest ratings. Back in 2020, we introduced a new strategy called O+, with 2 pillars. First one is to be carbon neutral by 2040, and second pillar is inclusiveness. So we are led by a female CEO, so it's very important for Virginie Morgon. So we have, for instance, for our recruiting program, a 50% rule, so a gender balance recruiting program. But many more aspects, but yeah, it's definitely one of our key aspects and differentiating factor. ESG is a key topic and for Eurazeo.
Yes, we believe also in ESG, and it will be really a hot topic over the next months and years for sure. How do you see the Luxembourg ecosystem and infrastructure right now? Anything we should or could change?
I think the environment in Luxembourg is mature. I think we have seen, and since Brexit, a very positive trend in Luxembourg. A lot of new manager and recruitment in the team. I think we are more well placed in the value chain now, with I would say more added value, middle office or things like that. So it's a quite positive trend. Of course, we have some challenges, and regulation could be one of them. But you know, I think overall, I think the environment is very positive. A lot of high profile in Luxembourg, and I think, yeah, I would say Luxembourg counts on the map of private equity. And yeah, we can see all players basically are now in Luxembourg with quite important teams. So yeah, very, very positive on the country.
And now on a more personal basis, what did you study and where did you start your career?
Well, I did a business school in France, and I started my career back in 2004 as an auditor. So for EY, I worked for EY for 12 years, 5 years in Paris and 7 years in Luxembourg. And actually, I mean, I didn't know private equity before, and I had private equity clients. Eurazeo was one of my clients, but others, Wendel or CVC. And then, yeah, the plan was to be partner. I was on this route, and then I got a call, and well, it was yeah, an opportunity. I felt that it was the opportunity I didn't want to miss, so I took it. So I've been working for Eurazeo for 6 years now, and I don't regret it, of course. Well, I think for a career in private equity, it's for people with curious people. If you like many things, if you're curious about things, and if you like to work as well, because it's yeah, it's not an easy life, but it's very interesting. A lot of tremendous people, very smart, clever people, entrepreneur. So it's very exciting career. So I would definitely recommend young people to start a career in private equity.
Good pieces of advice. Thanks for that. I think the talents will appreciate. Any specific person or leader who inspired you within your career?
I have to admit that I do not have any specific people. I mean, I'm inspired by creative people, people with vision, but also people with not only a vision, but an execution plan. I think it's you have to have the two of them. Maybe Elon Musk, I mean, because he's one of these guys with a vision on the electric car, on the space industry, but as well he had this execution plan, so it's a meta plan or whatever, and he executed it perfectly and with the success we know. So I think, yeah, in French, sorry, but we say you have people qui ont des idées surtout, mais surtout des idées. So I think it's very key to have a vision, but as well a plan to execute it, and then to you know, embark people with your project. So and for this entrepreneur, we meet very often in our industry. It's very inspiring.
This is a fabulous example, Elon Musk, because he's reinventing the world and also pushing his ideas through, and as you just said, also executing everything in order to make sense and also to happen.
Yeah,
good.
Definitely.
Any great book you're currently reading, or TV series, movie, I don't know, other inspiration you'd like to share with our audience?
Well, actually, I'm reading a very interesting book written by a French economist, Thomas Philippon, He's teacher at the New York University, at the Stern University. And his book, I think it's not a recent one. I think it maybe a couple of years ago it was published. The name of the book is The Great Reversal, How America gave up with the free market, gave up on free markets. It's a book explaining, so the story is asking himself why his telecom bill is so high in the US and why the service is so poor. And it's kind of counterintuitive that in the US you have such a service for such a price, and actually discovers that the concurrence in the US is quite poor in many sectors. So he took telecom, but as well other sectors, and he explains why. And basically, it's because of lobbying and the fact that politics in the US are financed by a private company. And the guys, they spend 60% of the time raising money instead of doing their job as a politic. All this make concurrence so poor in the US with only a few actors in a certain sector, leading to a very high price and poor services. And he shows actually that Europe is better than the US in terms of on these aspects, and it benefits the consumer, the EU consumers. So it's quite interesting and kind of counterintuitive ideas that he brings. So it's a nice book.
Yeah, very interesting perspective and angle. Great. Marc, thanks a lot for joining us today.
Thank you again for inviting me. It was a real pleasure.
And see you soon again.
Bye-bye.